Good morning. I'm Bob Marley. I'm also a C3E ambassador. I believe at the moment I may be the only one. We need to work on that and recruit some others. It's my pleasure to make the award for government service. Each year we give an award, and in the past we've usually given it to someone maybe because of their high position or maybe the strength of their organization have had broad national impact. This year is different. Today we recognize someone who has passionately focused on community enrichment at the local level, advancing the tenets of clean energy, education, and a healthy environment. I want to introduce you to Larissa Johnson. So take a breath. This is going to take 2 or 3 minutes, and that's boiled down from about 20 minutes. And she can elaborate when she gets her chance. Larissa lives and works in Maryland. She is the resident energy program manager for Montgomery County. Some of her many accomplishments include she's built a robust network of clean energy education through partnerships with the Montgomery County Public Libraries, the Energy Exploration and Energy Express workshops. This one surprised me, but it makes sense. Energy Bingo, which focuses on seniors, and the congregations and the churches under a clever banner called Let There Be Light, which focuses on light bulb exchanges. And personally, she's outreached to more than 11,000 residents in Montgomery County. I mean, that is a busy person. And as she signed up for more than 400 people to do clean energy audits of their homes. She also curates and writes for the My Green Montgomery, which is a kind of a county online newspaper that helps residents find local programs, services, resources, and answers to clean energy and environmental questions all in one place. But wait, there's a lot more. In addition, Larissa serves on 5 local or state advisory committees or boards, including the Maryland League of Conservation Voters, the Rockville Environmental Commission, and the Climate Leaders Network. She is a founding member of Baltimore's Eco Women. She also holds a position with the University of Maryland as the Climate Change Outreach and Communications Coordinator for the Center for Environmental Science. In this capacity, she has worked with stakeholders from the electric and gas utilities, the environmental advocacy community, and state agencies on something called Climate Change Maryland program. She has created a toolkit for outreach and education promoting the state's energy efficiency programs, which is called Empower Maryland. Earlier, while working with the National Wildlife Federation, she organized efforts with the Maryland Clean Energy Coalition to basically get passage, which was successful, of the Maryland Offshore Wind Act in 2003. She is widely recognized in her own community for her leadership and impact. She was chosen as a leading woman and added to the VIP list of the Daily Record, which is an online newspaper billed as Maryland's trusted source for business, legal, and governmental affairs. And so on. I'll let her elaborate on those things. I would like to close, though, on a little known fact, which I discovered, and be careful what you post in the Ethernet, a blog post that she wrote many years ago, and she was writing about the first Thanksgiving and what it might be like if you had to grow all of your locally owned grown food to put on the table for the first Thanksgiving, as they did back in, when. And that's when I discovered that Larissa's 13th great-grandfather was no less than William Brewster. Now, if you're from Massachusetts, you know all about William Brewster. This was the person who came over on the Mayflower in 1620 to help establish Plymouth Colony. My goodness. And was an elder and a leader in that colony, which is, of course, now in Massachusetts. So all I conclude is that community service must be deeply rooted in her genes to have survived 4 centuries to today. And if William Brewster were here, I'm sure that he would be enormously proud of her achievements. So, Larissa, it's my honor and privilege to recognize you with a C3E Award for Government Service, and may your work inspire others to follow. Please come up and get your award.
Okay, I was given great advice by Bob when I was first coming up. I am a fast talker. I get very excited. I love being in front of a microphone. I'm not afraid of it, but I do tend to talk quickly. And this is such a great honor that I have my cell phone here with all of my notes, and I want to make sure that I do justice to all the folks that brought me here today. So I want to first thank our hosts, AME Energy Institute, the U.S. Department of Energy, MIT Energy Initiative, and Stanford's Precourt Institute for Energy, as well as the C3E ambassadors for bestowing this upon me. I want to thank especially Lauren for the phone call. It was such a nice touch that we received an email, but we also received a phone call when we were being told that we received this award, so that was great. When I first heard about this award, I heard that it was for mid-career individuals and women, and I was just like, ew, I'm not mid-career. And then I was like, oh, I'm about to be 40. Yep, mid-career, sounds about right. But I do like to say, although I am a Gen Xer, I have millennial tendencies. So that's why I brought my cell phone up here to do this. Usually I just talk extemporaneously, but I forget things, and then afterwards I'm sitting there going, oh, I forgot that part. So I'm gonna stick to this. And since this isn't the Oscars, and I was told that there was no music that was going to be played if I go over my 4.5 minutes, I'm going to make sure I thank everyone. The first folks I want to thank, of course, are my family. So my grandmother and my aunt, who are not here, but hopefully they are watching on live stream, and my mother, who's over there. So you get very emotional at these things. This is true. She was like, don't cry. So I'm excited because my family is just so supportive of everything that I've ever done, whether it was, deciding to travel cross country by myself or working in clean energy. So I'm so supportive. I have so much support, so I'm so thankful for that. She also came all the way from New Hampshire, so you can blame her for the cold spell. I have to, of course, thank my husband, who is not here because he works a lot, but he did promise me that he would be watching the live stream. So hi, Evan, and your coworkers, and you're lucky he works hard because he should be here, but it's okay. I'll let him stay there. I want to thank my little personal cheerleader right here, Crystal. I thought this was a big deal, but last night she came down the hall and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you won. And I was like, oh gosh, this is a bigger deal than I thought it was. She was so excited. So I have to thank her. We went to graduate school together where we both studied environmental science and policy at Columbia. So thank you, Crystal, for amping me up and getting me so pumped to be here. I want to thank the person who nominated me, Lindsay Shaw, and also our boss, our big boss, Stan Edwards. They hopefully are watching as well, but I want to thank them because they know I have a lot of energy, and I'm very passionate about what I do, and I come up with the craziest, zaniest ideas, and they're always like, go forth and do whatever you're going to do because you're going to do it anyway. So I want to thank them for letting me be me. And I want to thank the county that I live in because we have really aspirational greenhouse gas emission goals. We hope to be 100% emission-free by 2035. The clock is ticking, so the county also encourages me to be creative and to do what I have to do to get the information out there. So I'm very thankful and grateful to live in that county. Now, I'm not a typical county employee. I try to infuse all the elements that make me happy into the work that I do. So I'm always bringing in community-based marketing information and community organizing and a lot of laughter and a lot of energy and a lot of physical activity integration because those are things that make me happy, and I feel like if I'm doing something that makes me happy, it translates into the work that I do. So what does that look like? So since I started in 2016, that number that Bob mentioned has actually grown. I've now talked to and engaged with over 20,000 residents in Montgomery County personally through outreach programs. And we all know that government work isn't possible without partners. collaboration, and sharing information. So I partner with breweries, libraries, grocery stores, senior centers. Why? Because that's where people go. So I go to where they are and I give them information because no one's coming to standalone energy programming. It just doesn't happen. We all know that. Like you can name it whatever you want. I've named my programs. I pay what? So talking about like when talking about like how do you know what your utility bill is telling you? So I've had to do that. I started with like Energy 101. Womp womp. Don't call your presentation Energy 101. You'll get 2 people. They'll love you, but it won't be a great turnout. And then a lot of times people are like, breweries? Why breweries? And I'm like, well, I like beer. And I know that there are people there. So it's a really interactive, engaging way to talk to people. I also collaborate with many other municipalities, Tacoma Park, the city of Rockville where I live. I know there are folks from Arlington and Alexandria here. And so we actually meet as a cohort about 4 times a year, and we share best practices together because we all know that none of the work that we're doing is really is new. We're all just packaging it differently. And so the light bulb exchanges that I do, we all do them in our area. The only difference is that I call them crazy things like Let There Be Light, or Books and Bulbs, or Brews and Bulbs, or right now I'm doing one called LEDs and Libations, and I partner with Alcohol Beverage Services. So I just changed the name to make it more interesting. I also share information with anyone who is willing to listen. And as Dr. Watson had mentioned earlier in the opening speech, I do not like change. So I know that when I go out into the community, if I'm saying, you need to turn off your lights, you need to do this, I know that I just lost half of the people in the room. So what I try to do is I try not to change people. I try not to preach to them. I don't want them to feel guilty or hopeless about their choices. I want to connect with them. I want to educate them, and I want to empower them. For me, energy is personal. I actually have this necklace that I had created. It's a light bulb, and it has the word life in it, because to me, energy is life. It's connected to everything we do. We could not be in this room and be comfortable if it weren't for energy. We could not have lights or microphones. These are all because of energy and electricity. So to me, it's really important to make sure that people are connected to it, and not just when their utility bill is super high or when their electricity is turned off, but all year being connected to it, knowing where it comes from. In Maryland, most of our energy comes from nuclear energy, nuclear power, and most people don't know that. A lot of times when I go to presentations and I ask people, they're like, solar. And that's because they see solar panels, but they don't understand that it's a whole mix of energy. So that's why I like to talk about that. And I try to make information as easy to find. In fact, we just launched a new website called Montgomery Energy Connection. And what I did was I took information from DOE, took information from all of the utilities in our area in different departments, and I put it in one place so Montgomery County residents can go one place to answer all of their energy questions, whether it is about lowering their utility bill or switching to clean energy. Now, I can keep talking about what I do. Bob did a great job introducing me, but I think it's more important for you to see what I actually do when I go into the community and educate residents of all ages, from kindergarten to senior centers. So if you will please indulge me for just a second. It's the morning. We haven't done anything active yet, so I just want you to stand up, please. Or stay seating if you don't want to stand up. That's okay. So one of the resources that I use a lot is from need.org, which is the National Energy Education Development Program. And so I do silly things. And every time I do a presentation with adults, they're like, oh, you work with kids. And I'm like, yeah, but like 1% of my time. I just take the stuff that I do with kids and I bring it to adults to help you remember different things. So there are many more of these chants. I'm going to give you one. That's it. So you're going to repeat after me. You're going to go like this. You're going to say, solar energy. Shine so bright. Shine so bright. Solar energy. Solar energy. Give me light. Give me light. One more time, all together. Solar energy. Shine so bright. Solar energy. Give me light. All right, give yourselves a hand. So that's just a little bit. We have them from nuclear, coal, natural gas, wind, hydro, biomass. We have one for everything. But I want to thank you for indulging me, for taking a moment to do that. I want to thank C3E for allowing this to happen and giving me this award, because I definitely feel like sometimes the work that I do is not enough. I've only talked to 20,000 people. So there's still, 80,000 more to go. No, that's horrible math. There's 1 million people in my county, so it's way more than that. Math. I'm not a mathematician. And I hope that now everyone here, my information is in the back of your book. I believe I said it was okay to use my email address, I would assume. So please feel free, and I hope that I have more friends now when I leave this than when I came in. So thank you so much.